All right, so in this second section, I want you to have your retailer hat on. Okay, I want you to think of yourself as a retailer who's selling merchandise. In other words, what we're going to call stuff. Okay? The retailer in this section is purchasing stuff from who? A wholesaler. So we are the retailer buying stuff, what the chapter calls merchandise, from a wholesaler. Are we, let's just talk Town and Country, and then let's just talk Under Armour sweatshirts, okay? Are we buying one Under Armour sweatshirt from the wholesaler? Likely, we're buying in bulk. It's a fine line though, because I need enough to put out on the retail floor. I need some in inventory in the back room, because it's a fine line. I don't want to house 85 pallets of Under Armour sweatshirts. From an infrastructure standpoint, people don't have that kind of room. But yet, when size large goes out the door to a customer, I need the next size large customer to be happy and have one of those too. So do you see that really fine line of you don't want too much in the back room storage, but yet you don't want unhappy customers? What do you mean there's not a size large? How can you not have a size large? Well, I just sold it. So that's the big challenge here with inventory management. What are we going to do with all of it? We're going to purchase it so we can turn around and sell it to who? The consumer or the customer. At Town and Country, that's us now. But I need you to take the customer hat off, and I want you to think of yourselves as the retailer, the Town and Country person selling Under Armour sweatshirts, among many other things. Okay? So this whole section, we're the retailer buying from a wholesaler that in the next section, we're going to sell to customers. My clicker doesn't work right now, so I'm literally standing over in this corner. Hello, I'll peek out. There. When we buy stuff, we are buying in bulk, likely from we're buying from wholesalers, likely buying in bulk. We're buying that stuff one of two ways. Either we're going to pay cash for it or credit. Okay, now let's think about this. If we buy something from someone and we don't pay cash for it, is it AR or AP? Let me say that again. When we are buying from someone and we don't pay cash for it, is it AR or AP? Does someone owe us money or do we owe someone money? AP. Thank you. We're really not going to record like that we own these goods or stuff or merchandise or what we're going to call inventory until we get it. Someone owns it while the little delivery truck is out delivering it, and we're going to get into that in this section. If it's a bill, well, actually, you know what? Either way. There's likely going to be some paper trail that goes with it. There's going to be an invoice that says, did we pay cash or was it on credit? And with that, there's going to be some terms, like how long do you have to pay for it? We're going to talk about terms in this section as well. If in any of your part-time jobs or internships, which I know some of you have had some pretty cool opportunities here, or some of your parents work in this, like in a billing department, there's a lot that's going on this piece of paper. It's telling you what you bought, when you bought it, when you're going to get it, how it's going to get there, and some sort of terms as far as when the payment's going to be due. You're going to be surprised if you go back to your jobs and look at stuff like this. Or even if you, let's say you're working in the back room of Willie's and the truck backs up and delivers a bunch of food, I can guarantee there's some paperwork going, whether that's electronic or actual paper, and on it are some very similar things. It might be called something slightly different, but the basics are still there. There's paper that goes with this. So here is an illustration as we'd then journalize. Sock Stereo, the buyer, so that's us. We're the retailer. If I had to replace Sock Stereo, I'd change it to Town and Country. Okay. If I wanted to use our Town and Country example. Uses a purchase invoice as a sales invoice prepared by PW Audio Supply, the seller. In this case, the wholesaler. Is Town and Country buying Under Armour directly from Under Armour? Probably not. They're probably buying it from like a second party. Do you know what I mean? They might be getting it directly from Under Armour, but I don't know how that works. So what does the journal entry look like when the stuff arrives? What are we getting? This is a little tricky. What are we getting? We're getting stuff. We're getting merchandise. It's an asset called inventory. What's kind of hard about this, nowhere on here do you see the word inventory. Assume we're buying stuff. A lot of times you'll see the word merchandise. It's not a debit to merchandise. It's a debit to a new account that you're learning about that's an asset. Do we own that inventory? We do. We're going to turn around and sell it for a lot more. That's the next section of the chapter. But we got to get the inventory to us. So that asset is going up. What else is going up? Did cash go down or did AP go up? Did we pay cash? I see terms, so no, we didn't. We see accounts payable also go up because we're Sock Stereo, owe PW Audio Supply. We got an asset, but we didn't use an asset to pay for it. We used a liability. Say, bill me. That's why the operating cycle takes so long, because we got the stuff, now we got to sell the stuff, and we got to pay for our bill. And then what if a customer says, bill me? We got to get them to pay their bill. So do you see how it's just a lot more complicated? I kind of like this section with the little vans. Typically. Sometimes it'll say cash, paid with cash, cash and carry. But sometimes they'll give you a paper trail just because. But typically it's whenever you see terms, which we're going to get into in a little bit, that means that it was charged. Yeah. Right now, if you're a UPS driver, a FedEx person, or a mailman, are you busy? Why? People are going crazy with buying stuff. Christmas cards, packages. This whole cyber shift in the Black Friday shopping. I talked to one of the FedEx guys or one of the UPS guys last week, and even before Thanksgiving had started, they had gotten 2 giant trucks. Thousands and thousands of things shipped. Okay. So the big question is, who owns it when it's on that truck? Does the wholesaler own it, or does the retailer own it? Does the retailer own it, or does the consumer own it? Because remember, there were 3. Wholesaler gets it to the retailer, retailer gets it to the consumer. The question is, when it's out on those trucks, who owns it? And it's one of those 3 people. You're going to be introduced to what's called FOB, free on board. FOB means free on board. The question is, for who? The wholesaler, the retailer, the consumer. Let's simplify this a little bit. What are most of the Cyber Monday and Cyber Week deals, other than a deeply discounted project? Let me try that a third time. Other than a deeply discounted product, they often offer free shipping on orders $50 or more, or free shipping no matter what you buy. So that means out of W, R, and C, the consumer is taking advantage of free shipping. They technically don't own it until it gets to their doorstep then, because the W or the R owns it while it's out on that little delivery truck. Does that make sense? Here's the best way of knowing who it's free for. When it's FOB, shipping point, it means it's free for the person shipping it. When it's FOB destination, it's free for the person getting it. So, you know, instead of public carrier, I could maybe put FedEx on this truck, okay? If a seller is selling something, that seller could be the wholesaler, let's just, for ease, let's call it the wholesaler. If it's FOB for the wholesaler, that means the minute they put that product on the truck to go to the retailer, the buyer owns it. So it's free for the shipper. See, he's getting it on the truck right there. And now the buyer owns it, whatever's in that box, until it gets to them. If it's FOB destination, the seller owns it until that truck arrives at the buyer. Because it's free for the buyer, the seller owns it until it gets there. That's like the whole cyber free shipping concept. Make sense? So FOB, it's almost like you got to think opposite. Free for who? Okay, well then the other person owns it. If the seller, it's free for them. The buyer owns that package the minute it enters the truck. Free for who? Destination. Well then the seller owns it all the way through the delivery process. And that matters because what's down here? Freight, so that's the concept of putting it on the truck and paying for the truck or the airplane to get it to you. The freight is incurred by the seller as an operating expense. If they are paying the shipping, that's considered an operating expense that's going to offset their net income. Or if the buyer has to pay because it was free for the shipper, if the buyer has to pay, then it's considered an operating expense to get it to me. It's not part of COGS. It's not part of COGS. It's part of just doing business. Let's illustrate this 2 times. Okay. Is this in your notes? Do I have little sections for you in your notes or not? No? Okay. Let's say I want to order flowers for someone. I'm going to order flowers for Rink, okay? I'm going to buy them from Sweet Lilies. So Sweet Lilies is the seller. And Jenny Mars is the buyer. Yeah, I'm going to have them delivered to school for Rink. So the school, like the office people will get them to her. So she's really not part of it. I'm buying the flowers for her, okay? If it's FOB, I just want to make sure I'm getting my, yeah, shipper. Who is it free for? And maybe I should do this instead. FOB buyer, I want to do this instead. It's free for the buyer. So that means Sweet Lily's will have an operating expense because they're going to get these flowers to me. They were free for me, not to buy, but to ship. Okay. And they took the expense of delivering them. I got the flowers to give to Rink, but I didn't have to pay. There was no delivery charge. Okay. What if I buy the same flowers? Again, I'm buying them. And they say, well, we're going to charge you a delivery, free for the shipper. In other words, or the seller. They're free for them, so then the buyer pays. So the minute the flowers leave Sweet Lily's, they're putting them on the truck, I own them. Versus they own them until they get them to me. For me, I have the operating expense, or in terms of a delivery, I had to pay for delivery. So that was an operating expense for me. So it's always free for who? The other person has the operating expense of getting them. I'll give you one more example. I'll give you a Lego example. Legos.com, they're offering free shipping right now big time because they want you to buy. And they don't want to have you to run to the store. It's just a promotion. Then they'll say free shipping on $100 or more. Well, that means you're going to buy more Legos, right? To get the free shipping. It's just a psychological game. Okay, so if the seller is Legos, the buyer is Jenny Mars, and they're running some promotion that says $100 or more, we'll give you free shipping. Who is the FOB for? Free for who? The seller, in this case, Legos. So the minute they put that Lego brick, here's my nice little Lego brick, on the truck, they're done with dealing with it. I own it until it gets to me. It's my, no, did I say that all backwards? Yes, I did. Oh my goodness. If it's free, oh, I said it all wrong, you guys. Oh my goodness. It's free for the buyer because it was free shipping. So the Lego brick is going to go on the truck, but they actually own that thing until it gets to me. It is their operating expense because they're saying, hey, we'll give you free shipping. We're gonna pay for the shipping until it gets to your door. And it's the expense of them, kind of like advertising. It's like this promotion that they're giving to me. Cool. Makes sense. It's just that they own that Lego until it gets to me. Versus if it was FOB free for the seller, that means the minute the Lego bricks get on their truck, I actually own them and I have the expense of shipping. Good. Let's see how this looks from a journalizing standpoint. Assume upon delivery of goods on May 6th, Sox Stereo pays, let's just put FedEx here instead, pays for freight. Remember, we're Sox Stereo. We're buying from this company. A couple slides back, we bought inventory. We owe them for it. Was it FOB? Who was it free for? Who was the shipping free for? The wholesaler, right? Because the retailer is paying for shipping. That actually, now here's where things get a little bit crazy. That actually drives up the value of inventory. Drives up the value of inventory. We'll come back to that. Apparently the word paid means cash. and we paid cash to do it. What was our inventory before? $3,800, right? So we bought $3,800 worth of stuff from the supply place. Inventory is an asset that we own. We now have $3,800 more of inventory, but what this is saying, we're also going to add to the value of that the cost to ship. So shipping ends up being masked in inventory because it's to get that $3,800 worth of stuff to us, we had to pay $150. So like the overall worth of our inventory actually goes up. Because to get it there, I mean, we needed it shipped to get it to us. So it actually brings the value of inventory up. Are we getting $150 more of stereo supplies? No, we just had to pay to get the $3,800 to us. And so that actually goes as an increase. It's basically like, think of it as kind of intangible. You can't touch it. You can't touch, well, I suppose you could go touch the FedEx truck if you wanted to, but it's the idea of that we had to pay to get the stuff to us. We did not get $150 worth more of stuff. It's just that we had to pay to get it to us. So we're going to drive the value of that inventory up. Do you think stuff is always in good shape? Especially when when people are handling it and throwing it on trucks and throwing it onto our steps, and then it snows or rains while your package is sitting outside of your door. People have to return stuff. The purchaser might be dissatisfied for a few reasons. Maybe they're damaged. Maybe the stuff is damaged. Maybe it doesn't work. You plug it in and it doesn't work. Or there's a whole chunk of it that just doesn't function correctly. Maybe we're not happy with the quality. Maybe it doesn't meet our needs, or simply we don't like it. A lot of reasons why people decide, I don't want this. There's really two options. You can do a full return. And you can maybe get your cash back, or you'll have your AP reduced. Like you don't owe us money anymore on that damaged item. Or here, if you paid cash, here's your cash back. Or you can have what's called an allowance, where they'll take like the seller will grant a reduction of the purchase price. So we're allowing you to keep it, but we're going to give you a deal. Have you ever been in a store where there's maybe just a slight flaw on a shirt, and then they'll have it like really cheap? And you're like, who cares? If it's maybe a missing button, you'll sew another one on. Or if it's just a tiny stain that no one can see, you'll maybe say, sweet, I'll still take it, but just give me a deal on it. That's kind of that concept. So here, the goods are going back. Goods or stuff are being returned. Hence the name purchase return. On here, you're choosing to keep the goods, but they are going to allow, should be two L's, some sort of deal. So on a purchase return, goods go back. On purchase allowance, you're keeping the goods. We're allowing them to keep the goods, but we're giving them some sort of deal. So we're still dealing with this $3,800 worth of stuff we bought. We know we had to add $150 for shipping. Then a few days later, we get our stuff and assume that we're going to return some of the goods, $300 worth. What does the journal entry look like? First of all, we don't owe the full amount anymore. We're going to reduce accounts payable by 300 because we no longer owe what we returned. And that inventory is gone. So you're actually going to see inventory reduced because some of it we sent back. So again, if you looked at this from an inventory, remember this is an asset. When we bought the stuff, it was $3,800 worth. We also had to mask shipping in there to drive the value of it up. But you know what? We sent $300 back. We don't have that inventory anymore. And as a result, we don't owe on that inventory anymore. Here's a whole nother one. Let's keep going. This is long. Sometimes wholesalers give us discounts. Maybe if we buy in bulk, but most often on an AP, if we pay them right away. So again, AP is when we didn't pay them cash. Sometimes they'll give a straight cash discount just for paying with cash. Well, we're going to give you a 10% discount just because you paid us right away. Well, in this case, we said bill us, send us a bill. And so that would be an AP for us. We owe the wholesaler money. But on our bill, there were some credit terms. And if we can get them paid off within their credit term timeline, they'll give us a deal. So I want to just show you 3 common examples. Again, this is typically when it's AP, when we owe. And I'll go back to that bill and show you what it looks like on the bill. If there are credit terms that say 210 and 30, that means that we're going to do a 2% off discount if paid within 10 days. And you might say, 2% on $3,800, that's, well, now $3,500 because we returned some. That's not that big a deal, but imagine if it was in the millions. That's a big deal, just by paying early. And 30 means the net is due within 30 days. So in other words, you have 30 days to pay this bill off, but if you pay within 10, we're going to give you a deal, 2%. Sometimes you'll see 3, 10, and 15. So what would that mean? 3% discount if paid within 10 days, but the rest is due in 15 days. The net amount is due in 15 days. 110 EOM, 1% discount is going to be given if you pay it within the first 10 days of the next month. So in other words, if they send you a bill in June, they're going to give you a 1% discount if you pay within the first 10 days of July. In other words, if you see N10 EOM, that means your bill is due. They're not going to give you a discount, but you better pay your bill within the first 10 days of July. This is the most common one you're going to see in our chapter. Let me back out a minute to that bill. Where was the bill? Holy moly, it was way back here. Okay, so if I show you this bill, they bought printed circuit board prototypes, one of them that cost a lot of money. They bought production model circuits, 5 of them at $300 a piece. Do we really owe $3,800 anymore? No, because remember, we returned $300, but then we also had to pay the shipping because look at what it said, FOB for the shipper. So the buyer had to pay shipping. What are their terms? 2, 10, and 30. So we're gonna get a 2% discount if we pay within 10 days of getting this bill. And the whole balance is due within 30 days. I think we gotta keep going. I know my clock is covered up. Are we almost out of time? Yeah, we're doing okay. We're getting to the end here. All right, so assume Stock Stereo pays the balance due of $3,500. Well, wait a minute, I thought it was 38. Remember, we returned 3. They paid it on May 14th, the last day of the discount period. Well, I just showed you what were their terms? 2, 10, and 30. How did I know that? It was on that piece of paper. So what does it look like when we pay? Is cash going to go up or down if we're paying our bill? Down. What else is going to be reduced when we pay our bill? AP. So you'll see AP go down by $3,800 or $3,500. Now what about the $150 in shipping? We paid cash for that when the delivery truck came. So that's really, although it's masked as inventory, that's neither here nor there. We paid that cash. You'll see AP reduced by $3,500. Remember, it's not $3,800 because we returned $300 of it. Are we going to write them a check for $3,500? Because of this. We're going to get a 2% discount because we're paying within our allotted discount day. Here comes inventory again, when really it's not inventory. I'll come back to that in a minute. We're actually only paying $3,430 because we're getting a 7% discount. Oh, I said that wrong. 2% discount because we paid within our 2-10 discount period. What little rascal is being reduced here? Inventory. Kind of annoying, isn't it? Because we mask shipping as inventory, and now we mask a deal that we got as inventory. Is inventory being reduced? Are we seeing $70 worth leave? No, but we're reducing the value of it a little bit because we got a deal on that inventory pile. So it's going to matter when it comes to COGS in our next section. If Stock Stereo failed to take part of the discount, so in other words, they didn't get it paid within how many days? 10. So they made their full payment on June 3rd instead. They missed their discount days. Still, you see AP go down, but now cash is going to go down by the full $3,500 because we didn't get it paid within those amount of days. And you might say 70 bucks, what's the big deal? But what if it was 70 million? That it is a big deal. Before we conclude, I want to talk a little bit about how this whole inventory thing is impacted. Is this in your notes? Okay, sweet. When we get inventory, absolutely, I bought $3,500 or $3,800 worth of stuff. Can I see the stuff? Yes. Okay. I forget if I put numbers in. Oh, I did. Sweet. I purchased the stuff. I can physically see it there. I can count it. I can touch it. But are there some players that make this go up and down that you can't touch? If you are paying the expense of freight coming in, that actually is going to drive up the value of your inventory. We are not getting $150 more of inventory to count and to touch and to see laying there. It's just saying that pile now is worth more. Are there some things that make the pile less? Yeah, if we return, that's the actual stuff. Can I see the $300 worth of stuff that was crappy that was sent to us, and I'm saying have it back. So on purchasing and returning, I can see the stuff come into me. I can see it going out the door because it was bad. What else makes inventory go down that I can't see? If I paid within a discount period. If I paid my bill within a discount period, it actually reduces the value a little bit. Am I willing to do that for 70 bucks in savings? Yes. Because what am I going to do with this inventory? I'm going to turn around and sell it for a big price tag. That's the next lecture that you won't actually hear till Monday. So of the 4, when I purchase and I return, I can see it. These are kind of like little behind the scenes worker bees that make it go up and make it go down. Would I see this one if it was FOB destination? No. That would have been covered by the shipping, the shipper. I think that's all I have, I hope. Yep. We're not going to talk about selling the stuff until next week. Tomorrow we are just going to do journal entries, journal entries, journal entries. Does that sound good?